Hello, Internet. Police forces have a unique and critical role in civil society. They are charged with upholding society's laws, using deadly force if necessary to do so. But with this much power entrusted to them, they are in a unique position to abuse that power if they choose to do so. Unfortunately, this is all too common around the world.
The UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention defines an arrest as arbitrary, and therefore illegal, when it meets at least one of these criteria. It has no basis in law. It is based on discrimination against the detainee. Someone is denied a fair trial. Someone is detained solely because of their migration status without the involvement of a judge. Or someone is detained for the peaceful exercise of their human rights. Arbitrary arrest is forbidden in international law by Article 9 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Article 9 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights states, "Everyone has the right to liberty and security of person. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest or detention. No one shall be deprived of his liberty except on such grounds and in accordance with such procedure as are established by law."
So why would police, sworn to uphold the law and protect the people, do this to the people they're supposed to be protecting?
There are many reasons, ranging from the political, at the behest of the government, to the merely criminal, for the benefit of the police themselves. Sometimes a criminal can pay the police a bribe not to arrest them. The criminal goes free, but the police have to arrest somebody for the crime unless they be accused of not doing their job. So they find a scapegoat, a fall guy, probably someone without money for a lawyer, probably a poor person, or someone of an ethnic minority, someone powerless. They arrest them and charge them with the crime to cover up for the bribe they just accepted. Sometimes the police extort people, force them to pay bribes, or else face arrest on false charges. Sometimes people can pay the police to arrest someone else on false charges because they have a personal vendetta against them. In all these examples, the police are arresting people on false charges in order to personally gain from doing so. Furthermore, police will sometimes make arrests simply to harass people they don't like, such as members of ethnic or religious minorities. In this case, arbitrary arrest serves to terrorize the local population into submission. This is also illegal. However, police will sometimes make false arrests at the behest of a corrupt government. A government official might ask police to arrest a journalist who is investigating corruption, or a human rights defender who is helping the people protect themselves, or an environmental activist trying to report on illegal dumping. Anyone who the government wants to silence but has no legal reason to do so. The police can invent a charge, concoct evidence, and arrest the victim for purely political reasons. This is also arbitrary arrest. But arrest is just arrest. What about the subsequent detention, trial, sentencing, and imprisonment? Law enforcement officials other than police are involved. Prosecutors, judges, prison wardens, and so on. These officials can also participate in arbitrary detention. They can accept bribes from police to find suspects guilty, or bow to political pressure and imprison activists and journalists without due process. In this way, the government can use the judiciary and other branches of law enforcement as a tool to repress legal opposition and hide behind a veil of legitimacy by claiming the opposition had broken the law. There are things a nation can do to prevent arbitrary arrest and imprisonment. It can better train its police force, create independent review boards, and pay the police better wages to make them less susceptible to bribery. It can establish procedures to create greater transparency in the judicial process. Arbitrary arrest and detention ruins lives. It takes innocent people from their homes, their families, their jobs, deprives them of their freedom and livelihood, and sometimes even their lives. Unfortunately, arbitrary arrest and detention is a major problem in at least half the countries of the world. In some countries, people are more afraid of the police than of criminals because there's barely a difference between them. Because arbitrary arrest and detention is such a widespread problem, there are many organizations out there to help fight it. If you're trying to find an NGO that's working on arbitrary arrest and detention, or any other particular topic, one of your best resources on the internet is Human Rights Connected. They have a huge searchable list of human rights organizations worldwide. Of course, you could also contact your country headquarters for Amnesty International or Human Rights Watch as well. Finally, you can contact the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention and report the abuse. I'll put the links to those websites in the description box below.
Remember the first rule of resisting abuse: never fight alone. You have strong allies out there, so ask for help if you need it. See you next time.